T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected.
Trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
So him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, it just...
The internet's got one name on repeat right now, not for his music, not for some viral stunt, but for a brutal reality that no one saw coming. King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and reality TV star Tiny, born into luxury, raised in the spotlight, and now fighting for his life behind concrete walls in the darkest place imaginable. Not long ago, King was flexing stacks on Instagram, throwing shade at haters, and making headlines for arguing with his dad at Falcons games.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
To the world, he was just another celebrity kid playing tough. But behind bars, that persona didn't buy respect. It painted a target on his back. Then came the hit, a vicious ambush inside a Georgia prison so violent that guards had to drag him from the chaos. His face swollen, body barely moving, the block turned into a war zone. And here's what's chilling. Insiders say this wasn't some random fight. This was planned, calculated, a message delivered in blood. And that was just the beginning. Because as King lies in intensive care, the Harris family is falling apart behind the scenes.
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
Rumors of failed contraband deals, whispered betrayals, shady camera malfunctions, and even deeper conspiracies are swirling, and the spotlight that once built their empire, it's now shining on every secret they've fought to bury. Long before police reports and hospital rooms, King Harris was living what most people would call a dream. The son of T.I., a certified rap icon, and Tiny, a Grammy-winning singer in her own right, King wasn't just born into wealth, he inherited a legacy.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, you know, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your business.
Yeah.
Growing up on reality TV, appearing in interviews, hanging with rappers and influencers, he had clout before he could even spell it. But over the years, that privileged image started to crack. Even as a teen, King was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Carrying himself like a young boss of Atlanta, he flaunted cash, talked tough, and acted like someone who had nothing to lose. But to outsiders looking in, it felt more forced than fearless. Then came the moment everything changed. King was taken into custody for charges that haven't been fully disclosed to the public, at least not yet. What is known is that he was placed in one of Georgia's rougher facilities.
That's the only good thing they posted of me going viral. I'm not on the media's good side. I don't know why, but it ain't.
Not some cushy cell with celebrity perks, not some isolated dorm for high-profile inmates. No, King Harris was thrown straight into general population with men who don't care whose son you are. And that's where everything started to unravel. But here's where things get cold. Because inside those walls, respect isn't based on who your father is. It's earned through loyalty, silence, and a brutal, unwritten code. And King, with his flashy past, loud mouth, and cameras always nearby, quickly went from newcomer to target. And it didn't take long for someone to make their move. It happened fast, and it was savage.
And you can, you know what I'm saying, kind of woo-saw yourself outside of the public opinion.
Reports say 3 inmates cornered King in a vulnerable section of the block. No warning, no shouting, just fists, steel, and chaos. By the time guards responded, it was too late. King was barely conscious, bruised, and bleeding. The entire unit was in a frenzy, and corrections officers had to pull him out before it turned into a full-on riot. But the craziest part, the prison cameras mysteriously went dark. According to officials, there was no malfunction, just a coincidence. But nobody's buying that, not even close. Insiders are already whispering what fans online have been saying loud. It was a setup.
I really admire his dedication and commitment to the craft, because, you know, I kind of told him, you know, what was wrong about it.
Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who'll pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
This wasn't street beef spilling into prison. This was premeditated. King wasn't attacked randomly, he was targeted. And what makes this even more dangerous? Some believe the attack had nothing to do with King himself, but everything to do with who he represents. His name, his past, the way he carried himself, even behind bars. Talk spreads fast in prison, and King's reputation walked in the door long before he did. And that rep, it may have gotten him marked from day one. Outside those prison walls, the panic hit instantly. From the moment King was rushed to intensive care, his parents went into crisis mode. But instead of coming together, sources say T.I and Tiny are tearing apart. Behind closed doors, their once rock-solid partnership is unraveling. Tiny's locked in damage control, working with publicists, legal teams, and media allies to soften the blow on social media. Meanwhile, T.Y.'s using every connection he's got, calling politicians, offering money, even threatening to expose corruption inside the prison system unless his son is protected. But inside the Harris household, the blame game is in full swing. Insiders say their arguments have been explosive, each pointing fingers over how King ended up in prison to begin with. Tiny allegedly believes their son is being hunted because of the family's fame and past scandals. She wants to protect his image and show the world he's a victim. T.I, on the other hand, is furious. He's less concerned with PR and more focused on power, trying to pull strings, make deals, or send warnings to anyone who targets his family. But behind the strategy is something deeper. People close to them say the pressure is destroying their unity. And with every headline, every leak, every rumor, T.I and Tiny aren't just fighting for King's safety, they're fighting to keep their marriage from collapsing under the weight. According to multiple prison insiders, this wasn't just about King's attitude or who his parents are. This ambush goes way deeper. Behind the scenes, rumors are flying about a contraband deal gone sideways. Some say King didn't just step on the wrong toes, he tried to play boss in a system where that can get you buried. One version of the story, King allegedly made promises he couldn't keep. Others claim he tried to finesse a crew that doesn't play games. Either way, what's clear is this: someone wanted to make an example out of him, and they chose the most brutal way possible. But that's not even the darkest part. There's buzz that King was lured to the corner of the prison where he got jumped, setup style. And conveniently, at the exact time of the attack, the surveillance cameras malfunctioned. The department swears it was just a glitch, but former inmates say when the cameras go dark in Georgia, it's never by accident. For King, this wasn't roughhousing or a fight gone wrong. It was a planned hit, possibly connected to deeper politics inside the prison. And if that's true, he didn't just get caught slipping, he walked straight into a trap with eyes wide open. Being a celebrity behind bars doesn't make you untouchable, it makes you vulnerable. You know, once King arrived, it wasn't his fist people feared, it was the baggage his name brought with him. To the outside world, Harris means chart-topping hits, reality shows, and red carpets. But inside prison walls, that name turned into a curse. Whispers about T.I and Tiny's past scandals, including those disturbing trafficking allegations, still linger, and word is the other inmates taunted King relentlessly over it. Some saw him not as a peer, but as a walking meme for his parents' downfall. And even worse, King reportedly leaned into the drama, still flashing wealth on prison calls, posting flexes, and acting like the same kid who was once untouchable on the outside. But in prison, that kind of energy is an invitation. One ex-inmate put it bluntly: "We don't care who your daddy is, you don't follow the code, you pay in pain." And with King's privilege past being an open book, private schools, celebrity status, media protection, he became a symbol, a way for older, more hardened inmates to remind everyone that fame doesn't mean anything here. As King fought for his life in the ICU, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok lit up like wildfire. Some fans sent love, prayers, and support, but others, they mocked him. Comment sections filled with lines like, "He thought prison was going to be a photo shoot. This is what happens when rich kids play gangster." Clips from the now infamous Falcons game, where T.I. put King in a headlock during an argument, resurfaced instantly. Back then, people laughed it off. Now it looks like a warning of what was coming, and the public attention only made things worse. Other Harris children started getting dragged into the mess. Old paternity rumors, reality show drama, and long-buried family disputes all resurfaced, spinning the Harris legacy into full-blown chaos. This wasn't just about one viral clip or one prison brawl. It became a full-on public unraveling of the entire Harris brand. But here's where the story gets real murky. Some people close to the case think King may have been targeted for reasons way bigger than the mistakes he made. There's a theory swirling among insiders, former prison staff, attorneys, even old associates of T.I. that someone wanted to send a message by breaking King Harris, not because of who he is as a person, but because of what he represents. Power, privilege, scandal, and the arrogance they say comes with it, and the timing of it all, it's suspicious. Cameras stop working, guards are late. Whispers about a contraband ledger with King's name on it. Even an anonymous source claims King was delivered to a rival cruise turf with no explanation. Was this personal payback, gang politics, or someone somewhere pulling strings to make an example out of T.I.'s son? The truth may never fully come out, but either way, King didn't just walk into a prison, he walked into a war. Outside the facility, T.I. is in full defense mode, threatening to expose corruption, making media deals, feeding friendly reporters a narrative that paints the system as the real villain. Tiny, meanwhile, is desperately trying to pivot King's image from spoiled troublemaker to young man caught in a broken system. But no matter how hard they spin it, the damage is done. The Harris family's reputation is bleeding, their empire trembling, and King still in critical condition, physically, emotionally, and socially. And while the attack left wounds on his body, it left even deeper ones on the family legacy. This was never just about one fight. This isn't just King Harris paying for his mistakes. It's about what happens when reality hits harder than fame can protect. A harsh lesson for anyone raised to believe they're untouchable, only to find out that inside those walls, respect ain't given and protection isn't promised. So, where does this story go next? If King recovers, does he keep chasing clout or disappear from the spotlight for good? Can T.I. and Tiny keep their family and their brand from shattering completely? And the biggest question haunting everyone close to the story, was this the result of poor choices or something way bigger being covered up behind the scenes?